Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and it's Wednesday. And with me, as always, is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all those goblins and ghouls. Just remember, a pumpkin a day keeps those little ghosts at bay.
Yeah. For any new listeners, this is a channel where Voyse and I enjoy reading and talking about stories from the internet that are interesting, funny, and dramatic. Because of a love of stories, we've come together and created this channel to share with you those experiences.
And hopefully give you some food for thought.
So, I have some good news, and I've got some not so good news.
Oh, good news and bad news.
The good news is, this is our 100th episode.
Yay, 100 episodes!
We uploaded our first video on January 29th.
With awful audio because your mic was so out of date.
We're the best. And the bad news is, unfortunately, when it comes to our channel and uploads, you're going to have to keep dealing with us because we enjoy doing this a lot.
Yeah, way too much.
Did I get anyone?
I hope we got one or two people.
Happy 100th.
Happy 100th. You got your first trick of Halloween from us.
Ding dong. Well, now that we got that out of the way, Voyse, what did you brew for me today?
I brewed for you just a simple Earl Grey. I enjoyed the loose leaf. The quality of it was great, so I decided I would just give it to you as is.
Oh yeah, Fruit Loops in a cup. I enjoy that.
I'm glad you do. Well, while you go ahead and enjoy that brew, let's get right into the stories. For any listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. For our first story, am I the a-hole for refusing to buy my daughter a scientific calculator? When my daughter, now 19, was in 10th grade, I bought a pink scientific calculator for her. She loved it and used it for her science and math classes. Then, in grade 11, I bought her a blue graphing calculator that she can use for the next 2 years since it was required of her. She handled it and kept it in great care. She's now in university, and she's taking math for one of her courses. Today, she sent me a link to the Amazon website for the pink scientific calculator and told me that she's not allowed to use her graphing calculator for her class, and she has a test next week. She asked if I can buy it. I asked her what happened to the scientific calculator that I gave her a few years ago. She admitted that she threw it away after getting the graphing calculator since she thought that she didn't need it anymore. I was shocked and disappointed. I told her that I won't buy it for her. She got upset and started begging, telling me that it was worth only $15. She'll be more careful, and that she was a stupid, impulsive 16-year-old who wasn't thinking straight. She promised to be more careful. I told her that she needs to learn from her mistakes, and if she really needed a scientific calculator, she can just walk to the dollar store nearby and get one that costs only $3 at most on the weekend. We argued a bit more, and then she left, upset with me. After a bit, I think I'm making a big mistake by not getting her a scientific calculator since I think she understands her mistake and she has a test next week. But on the other hand, why should I buy it for her when there are cheaper options and she threw her old one away? Am I the a-hole?
All right, so we'll hop into this story. ROP is picking a weird hill to die on. I don't hear anything where in the story they're saying that she's been irresponsible with anything. She's in university now. They got her that calculator when she was 15, 16 for a class. She required a different one after that. She says she tosses out the scientific calculator, but at 16, how many people hold on to things when they think, anyway, that it's no longer useful for them? So I don't see a big issue with that. My problem is when ROP's daughter is recanting what happened to that scientific calculator all those years ago, she's almost beating herself up in this explanation over something so very small. And I understand teaching kids value and respect for the items that you buy, so that way they can also in turn do that to the things that they buy in the future. It's important to have that. But what it sounds like is she's beating herself up over something very trivial. And ROP says that they may end up not buying the calculator for them because it's to teach her a lesson. Are you serious? It's for your daughter's school. She's in university. She needs this for a class. I think for a test is what she said.
Correct.
This is a weird hill to die on. She didn't ask for anything frivolous or non-important to school. 100% OP, you are the a-hole.
So the consensus on Reddit is that our OP is the a-hole. In fact, a lot of individuals said it's $15. I'm not sure what lesson you're truly trying to tell your kid, but all that you're just saying is that you're a cheapskate. There were actually a lot of individuals that said, look, half the time when I've grown past something or needing to use it, we don't tend to hoard it. We tend to just either donate it or throw it away or some other repurposing, such as gifting it to a friend that really needs it. But your daughter says, yeah, what she did was probably not the smartest thing. I personally wish that she would have donated it rather than thrown it away, but that's neither here nor there. She was young at the time, and rather than having 2 calculators, she just decided to only have 1. And apparently this course wouldn't allow her to have the graphing one. Now, let me go ahead and bring you in on a little tidbit. On the Am I the A-hole forum, our poster puts this, and of course they got the verdict of they are the a-hole. And then our poster went ahead and put this same exact one on another forum called Am I the Butthole? And then they got voted as they were the butthole.
So wait, what?
They got the same consensus across both boards.
What's wrong with you? Why are you trying to seek validation for what you're doing? Look, we can fight all day about cheapskate or not. We don't know their situation financially. Maybe $15 really is a lot of money to them right now in their situation.
And that is true.
But I still feel like there's something weird going on when your daughter has to beat herself up in her explanation for you to try to justify you helping buy something they need. So I go back to how much convincing does someone have to do in your life for you to deem it's important to them? When we're talking about school materials, that's where I feel really weird about the story. Now, maybe that's me reading too much into it, but something has to be said for that.
Yeah, you're right. There does seem to be a lot of groveling when it comes to at least our OP's daughter. It makes me wonder if our OP really likes to be in control of situations. That's neither here nor there. In the end, for this one issue, they were just seen as the a-hole because they were trying to make this grandiose lesson of something that's really trivial. Well, let's go to our next story. And apparently this one's tagged as not safe for work, but let's see what you think.
Tantalizing.
Am I the a-hole? I washed my husband's key fob. I, empty nester age, have been married over 20 years and typically do the laundry because I do not work outside the home as many hours as does hubby. He does often help fold and put away. It has always been my policy to not check any pockets, aside from when the kids were very young, before I put items in the washing machine, even though I have washed/ruined many important items, my own included. I've even had to clean ink from all over the dryer drum because of my refusal. He's a grown-ass man. I say he can check his own pockets before putting them in the hamper. 3 days ago, I found his truck's keyless proximity starter went through the entire wash cycle and, of course, it does not work. Tried to start his vehicle, no luck. Took the vehicle, with second fob, to the dealer service, who said it was FUBAR. A new replacement fob will cost around $450. Hubby says I am the a-hole for refusing to check pockets. I say he is the a-hole for not checking before surrender to laundry. Who gets the blame? Something really gratifying for the winner is writing on the answer.
Oh my Lanta. So ROP is hedging a bet on this. How fun. ROP said that she has been in a marriage for over 20 years now. And she's been the one that's been doing laundry for her family. I guess throughout this time, she's never wanted to or has checked pockets. So this is interesting because I find it funny. Let's say you're the one that left pens or chapstick or anything in your pockets. If they get ruined, for some reason, the blame always lands on the person who is washing the clothes themselves.
Because they were the one that was putting it in
Yes.
the washing machine.
I have never agreed with that. You should be responsible for taking the stuff out of your pants before you put it in a hamper. But I also can understand that when someone is doing the laundry, you kind of do need to turn out your pockets. So in my opinion, I guess what I'll say is that I believe both of y'all suck because, for one, ROP says she's learned this lesson, or she should have learned this lesson along the way, because she says she's had to clean out all of the mess that's been made from pockets not being checked first.
Even from her own fault.
That seems kind of hard-headed to me. No, I think she just says because she refuses to do it. But why are you making more work for yourself? That doesn't make any sense. You buy the clothes, you obviously have value in them. Why not take care of them when it comes to cleaning? And then on the other hand, we have her husband. You really should be responsible for checking your pockets before you put them in the hamper. I don't think that's too much of an ask. We do that, but we wouldn't blame each other and have a hard time about it. It would have been an honest mistake. But we've also had that conversation. Every time something's about to go in the wash, check the pockets. 20 years of having clothes getting destroyed all the time doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, as for who the gratifying winner is for this post, that would be nobody because everyone sucks here. At least that's what the consensus is.
Good.
And for the people who I would say sided with the you're the a-holes, put in no one likes her attitude and how proud she is of apparently destroying the stuff that they have just to make a point. And then the other half that says not the a-hole says the husband should actually take more of a proactive role in making sure that if there's something important in his pockets, it's emptied out. As I said, the majority is everyone sucks here. I agree with this. Personally, I think both points are important. She's not checking the pockets, but it's a refusal to. And it's a refusal in such a way that it feels really petty. It's not really, look, I don't make it a point to look in it. It's, I refuse to look into any pockets. And it's where her husband's trying to blame her because of this refusal, almost as if he's trying to absolve himself of this guilt. But there's this staunch line in the ground of pettiness. And maybe it was just the way that they've started talking to each other. Like, since you're doing the clothes and you're the one that's always putting in the washer, that's your job to do. And maybe that's a fault on her husband. But that's something that they should have each talked about. Where, hey, look, I don't think that all of the responsibility should be solely on me. And if you're going to have this viewpoint on the person putting the clothes in the washer, maybe you should do clothes on your days off then.
And it might just be more bitterness having to do a responsibility that was put on her a long time ago. Really, at the end of the day, we're talking about ruining clothes over trying to send a point. Maybe have a conversation and really get down to why it's bothering you so much to check them. Each of you has a responsibility to that.
Well, this one got weirdly tagged as not safe for work, but that didn't really feel safe for work, did it?
Nope.
It kind of left a hole in me. So our next story is going to be a not safe for work one.
Interesting segue.
Am I the a-hole for having sex with my lesbian roommate when I identify as straight?
Interesting segue.
Okay, throwaway because I feel ashamed and so guilty. My female 30, flatmate, female 25, is lesbian. I identify as straight because I get turned on by men. My flatmate is very free, and she says she has a high libido. Anyway, one night we had wine, and she ended up going down on me. I didn't do anything in return, and she didn't ask either. Now it happens on the regular almost every night. I don't do anything on her, but she does. She is always the initiator, and since I don't get turned on by women, she puts on hetero porn. She says I turn her on, and honestly, she gives me the strongest orgasms. Last night, we had a party at our place, and one of the guests, female 30, got very upset and disgusted by me when she found out our arrangement. She called me an a-hole and that I'm using my flatmate. I was taken aback and very distraught because taking advantage of people is the last thing I want to do. This woman is lesbian, and she said this is something straight women often do, use them and take advantage of them. I have been crying since last night. Am I the a-hole?
This one is spicy meatball. So let me go ahead and break this down to its basic form. I don't believe that our OP is the a-hole even a little bit. They're two consenting adults in what sounds like a mutual relationship. I have to believe that the roommate in this situation probably understands that OP is not lesbian.
Based on the story and inside the comments, yes.
Then with that fact alone, I don't understand how she could be using her and why someone would be upset. She's a consenting adult. I don't believe you're the a-hole OP.
Well, let me go ahead and provide you over the consensus, and then I'll break down a couple points based on those comments. So the consensus said our OP's not the a-hole. And to put it simply, everyone just says they're just two consenting adults, that they're probably just experimenting. And this person that butted their way into someone else's business shouldn't have. Now, some commenters actually put down that there are lesbians that go after straight women because they see it as an ego boost. And potentially this might have been one of them. There were other commenters that say there's actually a lot of newer lesbians out there who experiment. And then there's a lot of hetero women that actually want to see what it feels like. And it's kind of just a doorway for them to go ahead and also experiment with their own sexuality. That this person who has a problem with it, it seems like she had a history of this happening to her, but that doesn't mean that our OP and her flatmate had that same problem, especially when there was an understanding between the two of them. Now, I will go ahead and confirm that our OP said they are ending their arrangement. This was a full-blown, did not sit well with our OP at all. She honestly just wanted to come on the forum to find out if she did something wrong, because she feels like, was she using her flatmate in a wrong way? And she did apologize to her flatmate if that is how it made her feel, even though she confirmed that her flatmate said she shouldn't apologize. It's nothing. Now, this seems to be one of those nuanced questions, because there were some commenters out there that actually put out and said, it sounds like you guys were taking advantage of each other. And while we're not okay with that, as long as the two of you are fine with that, it really is just your business. And that seems to be what everybody fell back to. That's the basis of their relationship. And it is a type of relationship, probably not a super romantic one, but it is a very physical relationship. But it really shouldn't be anybody's business if they're not hurting each other.
Unfortunately, it sounds like someone spoke too much about their business in a party setting. And that's obviously, when you allow it to be in the public space, you better be ready to hear it, because that's when it became non-private.
Yep. And our OP did confirm that she believes her flatmate might have told this person, this guest, because it doesn't even sound like they were friends. It was just a guest at a party.
Maybe keep some things to yourself.
It's a good idea.
Good learning experience for the 25-year-old, though.
That is very true. Well, let's go to our very last story of the day. And it's getting a little cold. I need my jacket. Am I the a-hole for not buying my girlfriend a new jacket after throwing her old one away? With the start of this month, my girlfriend and I moved back to my childhood home for a few months, and since nobody lived in my old room for quite a while, it was very cluttered. So a few weeks before we moved in, I went to my old room with my dad and got rid of old stuff I didn't need anymore, like old clothes and just any other junk I found in there. In the meantime, my family put some of my sister's clothes in the closets, as well as other stuff I wasn't entirely sure whose they were. So while I'm there cleaning and throwing stuff away, I see a woman's shirt and a jacket in one of the closets. I take a picture and send it to my girlfriend and ask her if they are hers. She responds, "No, they are your ex's." Me, very funny, but wrong. At this point, I put my phone back in my pocket, throw the clothes away, and continue clearing out the room. Next time I look at my phone, I see that my girlfriend shortly after my last message wrote, "They are mine, yes." Now, at this point, the trash bag with her clothes alongside at least 5 other trash bags are in the public bin, so I didn't feel like picking through trash, trying to find them, and left them there. My girlfriend has been unhappy about this since it happened, mentioning a few times that I should buy her a new one, but I really don't think that's fair since I feel like it's almost entirely her fault for them being thrown out because of her joking with me in not the best moment. Today, she sent me a picture of the same/similar jacket from a store and asked if she can use my money to buy it. I responded that I am willing to pay for half of it, to which she responded, "I already paid for it once before." Am I the a-hole for throwing away the jacket and not wanting to buy a new one?
Okay. Let's get into this. This one's interesting because our OP says they're cleaning out their room. I guess there's 2 jackets, and he takes a picture and asks his girlfriend if those are hers. She replies back with something pretty funny. And then he proceeds to put the phone away and continue cleaning. Those jackets got junked. And then after that, he picks up his phone and finds out that those were indeed her jackets. My question would be, how long from when he puts his phone back in his pocket does he check his texts again after that?
Good question. He actually puts down in the comments that it was an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a little bit of time. Although probably not enough time had passed for the clothes to have been picked up and moved. We're talking like a dumpster getting picked up and thrown away. So he could have gone back and looked for the jacket.
Correct.
See, that's where your laziness catches you. Maybe you're not the a-hole for initially throwing the jacket away because you read it and you put your phone away and you're in get stuff done mode. I get that. We all get lost in some of the things we do. But maybe you are a little bit the a-hole at the end because even though you read it only an hour and a half later, you didn't go and correct the mistake because you just didn't feel like walking down. And again, I'm not sure if like he threw it in a big dumpster, if that was what we're talking about, or I don't know the situation as far as that. But for you not to go and just grab the jacket when it sounds like it was still accessible, at the end of the day, you probably should have paid for a new jacket. Your laziness is the reason why you're the a-hole in this situation.
Well, the consensus is that our OP is the a-hole. And a lot of individuals actually pointed out, look, if you threw it in the trash and you don't want to go back for it, that's all good. You don't need to go back for it. But that just means that you need to pay her back for the item that you specifically lost. Yeah, you guys were joking back and forth, but you knew it was a joke, which is why your response was very funny but wrong. It's not as if you took her truly seriously, nor anywhere in the post did you actually mention that this was a serious conversation.
That is interesting, though. Why would then he go ahead and throw them away, even though he knows for a fact that those are not from an ex-girlfriend? Why still go along with it? I
guess for him, he either thought that it was his sister's and is like, haha, funny, and then just threw it away. But at the same time, the moment that you find out that that is actually your girlfriend's stuff, either you go and you get the item or you replace the item that you threw away. Now, I find it funny because some commenters actually said, reverse the roles. As your girlfriend or as your wife, we would know which one's your jacket. That made me laugh. There were so many commenters that's like, yes, I know my husband's clothes. And then there was others that was like, there'd be no escaping this.
That's hilarious. Was that our last story?
That was our last story.
All right. That was a fun way to end it.
Yes, a lost jacket and a boyfriend that's going to pay for a new one, apparently.
Do the right thing. Listen to the comments.
I understand it was probably a mistake, but at the same time, you didn't try and fix it, which I think really called to people to say that you're the a-hole.
Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, or follow, and turn on notifications for new content. We regularly post on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We would also like to thank all of our patrons for your support.
Love every single one of you.
And we would love to hear your opinions in the comments section below.
And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.